Hello. So today we're gonna talk about actually a lot of things. We'll use external symbols which have very important place in the way reality is being shaped. That is almost objective science, because science is, well, how to explain it? I need to come to this understanding what is the vertical plane and what is the horizontal plane. So let's explain it on the basis of the current ideologies. Let's take a new age in which, or magic, or classical magic, in which we use items in order to make some potions or stuff like that, calling on gods, and to do your few favors and stuff. Or new age, where we call somebody, there's a Pleiadian, there's a reptilian, there's all sorts of stuff. This is, I would say, this is over literalization of spirituality. Well, we have this is the vertical plane understanding of the horizontal plane. That's interesting, right? Because we're entering very important period, and I'm just slightly worried that this reading will be tainted with my personal beliefs, my personal understanding. I hope not. I will try to keep it as much open-ended as possible. We have full moon approaching, and I've been talking about it at the previous full moon reading. I think it was about kind of dissolving and one was about, I think, dissolving identity, having troubles with the solar plexus and heart chakra, the circuit between. On the new moon, it again came out similar story, and there were various archetypes which were related to certain blockages somebody had in the energetic field. On the collective level, the very same thing is happening right now. People are coming home to their heart. That's why this full moon is in Aquarius, I think, and or in Leo. I think it's in Leo. So it's on the axis to Aquarius, and then we have a 17th February. There is a new moon, solar eclipse, which is in Aquarius. So it's in on the same axis, Leo Aquarius axis, and then we have lunar eclipse in March 3, I think. It's a lunar eclipse, lunar new moon eclipse. This all is very significant, and the changes are occurring on the collective level as much as on a personal level. Here we will have to bring some sort of higher philosophy, higher level of understanding into this reading, because we're simply not gonna trivialize it. It's very, very important, so everybody can have chance to jump on this wagon, which leads us to, we'll say, new earth, new generation, new potentialities, new outlook. We have as much people as possible. We gotta make them able, and it's always a frequency which takes you somewhere. It's always your own alignment which takes you somewhere. You have to properly understand it, because I guess as a lot of people here actually, operating on a level of traditional magic, or on the level of this over literalization of, like, making spirituality material, making it so there are the creatures like that. You see, it's not about the dragon, whether it exists or not. It's not about it, because there might be dragon existing, and it's like people, whoa, they existed. Like, on some level, everything exists, right? Everything is, people created God as much as God created people. It's just both way thing. It's about how, I don't know how to explain it very well. So we have Shiva Shakti, we have Purusha Prakriti, we have a spirit and the material world, What is the relationship between them? Is this relationship just spirit world creating our reality, but yet they are separated from it, and they just like watching? There is a council which observes us, and that's what most New Age people believe. And I see the most followed pages are with this rhythm, the same astrology, the same everything else. Still very dualistic outlook, even through they all say. Then you have Advaita Vedanta, the most sophisticated philosophy which exists. Yet it makes no sense. It makes total no sense to human being to believe in that, because the person would have to completely revoke their life. Completely. There is no reason to live anymore, because reality is just a illusion. It's just projection. So here we're not doing this. It's like, rather than saying everything is not important, nothing is important, we say everything is important. Then that's how it is in Kashmir Shaivism. Everything, every little thing is important. So to understand it properly, we'll talk about specific thing. Is what's more important and how is it important? Personal ego versus collective ego. Person or everything else. Because here in Leo we have leaders, gurus, cult leaders, presidents. We have the public figure. We have you, who is achievement driven, who is also a child who wants to play but also wants to be recognized. You want to be recognized for and want to have freedom to create and be praised from these creations. And then on the Aquarian axis, which is ruled by Saturn, we have people are all the same. People are all the same, and it doesn't matter who you are. You have equal rights. So you see, it already doesn't match even Hindu culture, because you know, you have this caste system out there still present. It doesn't match. It's all about innovation and improvement and making things better, and it's all about completely forgetting about individual needs. There is no such thing as your self-recognition. Everything is Shiva. Everything is consciousness itself. And what is Shakti, the power of Shiva? Because you know, Advaita is saying you are Brahman, you are creator itself, right? Yeah, and you are, but then see, there is Shiva-Shakti relationship. This is what brings meaning to life on earth, because Shakti is not subordinate to Shiva. If Shiva would want dragons to exist, they not necessarily would exist, because Shakti would have to create them, but this power may not want them to exist, let's say. So you see, this is a union. They are one, but it's not like you have to be this totality is not there. Everywhere where is totality, there is a doctrine. And even through in this kind of sophisticated system, which kind of aligns with the quantum mechanics almost, still I'm seeing those there's almost dangerous things which could turn very meaningful things into like very nihilistic things. I don't know how this is important right now. I think it is extremely important, because we have a wave of people who are actually awakening, and we have to discuss one more thing which is very important: how those awakenings are happening and what's happening to people. So we have our Western culture, right? And we have people like Eckhart Tolle, perhaps, or other spiritual teachers who are coming from, they are deeply rooted in this, soaked with, genetically even, it's in their bones, in their body, this Western style of thinking. And you know what happens to people who are starting to feel this enormous consciousness, to be conscious about things, about the multi-dimensionality of things, about things come together, how it came to existence, having this godly perception, right? At the beginning stages of it, what's happening is person have to go through not a collective shadow, because then from the other side, in other cultures, like Hindu culture, like some native cultures, you have whole village, and you have a shaman, and you have all the other archetypes, and the shaman is existing between them. And that's normal. It gets led, gets initiated, and everything is okay. And there is one on the generation, the same as here, pretty much. You also have one healer on a family, a giant family unit has one chosen person, right? That's what it's called. And it's not being chosen, is just another silly thing Westerners invented, right? The New Agers invented. It's just a person, right? It's just a person who is taking a more, I don't know, wholesome path. That's what it really is. Person who takes a wholesome path is not a leader. It's not necessarily something extremely defined. It's somebody who's losing identity for sake of others. And in Western culture, if somebody's planning on doing all this Kundalini work, which you cannot even force. This is something which just happens. It just happens. Or it doesn't. And nobody should force anything, because this ends up in bad places. People becoming mentally ill and etc. And we just don't want that. You're taking this route and you finding yourself, if you belong to Western culture, that you will come through the possible edge of the spectrum of collective shadow, but it's within your personal shadow, because we are being taught to develop our shadow functions, our shadow identity. We are living in this egoic polarity. We are living in like, oh, the personal skill set is the most important, right? That's how we prosper in society. There is an extreme competition. But in those more native cultures, they never forgot about roots and collectivism. Therefore, they are, as I would say that, instead of disassembling this onion on atomic parts, right? You can hover above the field full of onions, and you just look how they grow. That's how shaman feels directly in our culture. You just don't have to go through this pain. You don't have to, because they naturally landing in this role. It's being passed on. The memory of it exists. It just kicks in, and that's it. There is no suffering. There is no Jesus Christ on the cross. There is no pains in a whole body while you releasing the psychic content from your muscles, from your joints, from your nervous system for years. There is no such thing. This thing exists in the Western culture because of absolute misunderstanding of the process. About this culture working deliberately towards hiding it, towards just absolutely opposite way. From oneness to absolutely opposite way. And the distorting this process, making it the most difficult to integrate here. Creating the most separation. So when you are entering this path and you're starting to see, you are embodying, let's say, the narcissist borderline polarity as first. Because like I've seen people too just took psychedelics and suddenly will awaken, and they were screaming that they are God, and they were super overly literal, and then it landed them in so-called spiritual jail for years, unable to get out of it. In our culture, it will never happen. It would not have to happen, because it will be just natural process. That's what I'm saying. It's so hard, and I think it's important to understand it, really, like what we are dealing with and why is it the way it is. Because it's not that nothing is important, it's that every single thing is very important, that everything has to be perfectly aligned in this vertical, on this vertical plane. Imagine this vertical plane and layer upon layer, layer upon layer of these horizontal planes of reality, action, judgment, immediate material reality. And you have to pierce through each one of them in order to align it all and bring it to the center. That's how it looks. And that's why chakras are a pretty good metaphor on this very process. So it's real this way. And as I was saying, it's not about whether or not dragons literally have to materialize in this reality, because if the collective would, technically, if collective would agree on it through a soul and through a mental body, through a physical body, through a intellectual body, and through a soul body, through a belief, the nature would find its way in order for create the reality in which that would be possible. Of course, it's a large process. They will create an organic creature which is blowing fire. It will take thousands of years if people would have this very detailed outline of reality. And it's, you see, it's not like New Age said. It's the biggest thing which saddens me, and I'm just ranting today, I'm sorry. It saddens me is this modern idea of manifestation. They say, oh yeah, you need to just manifest those things. You need to sit down and manifest them and write them and surrender yourself with this and this and that. When in fact it's so much, it's false hope, because like it's not how it works. You will have to access the field in order to manifest something, but if you are the one who was actually able to access this field, you will have to be a person who no longer needs or wants anything. See, that's the thing. If not, you are not a part of giant secret society of people who don't. But if you are a singular person who is there accessing field, there's many people who are accessing this field. None of them want anything. That's why they can. And you're doing this through deep meditation when you're actually losing complete contact with reality. And that's the only way. So, yeah, if you wake up in the morning and talking things to yourself in your mind, like, that's probably the best spot you can do it. But is it a fail-proof and a way of manifesting? No, not really, no. No, it's much more difficult. And I think those eclipses are meaning to bring a lot of layers of understanding, this individual understanding and this collective understanding together. And hopefully, maybe not now, hopefully through all this Saturn in Pisces, right? And now stepping into Aries, I'm talking about Western astrology here, because we're talking about Western culture mostly here. Hopefully this Pisces, the Saturn and Pisces, you see, gathered all this knowledge from all different culture across the world, because Saturn doesn't care if you're eating, let's say, a cow shit, if you are not inventing anything useful, if you're not, I don't want to insult anyone here. It's just like a typical Westerner opinion, let's say, about Hindu culture. If you're not inventing anything, if you just have overpopulation and stuff, you see, like perhaps it understood it on a higher level when this judgment from a perspective of our own culture, in order to actually live in this duality, us versus that. Well, different cultures invest in different things. Here, actually, Hindu culture is, if somebody knows about it, they do not invest that much in material reality. So, that is, there is not that much overall progress and innovation happening on this material plane, right? For example, is this kind of things will be coming out. There has to be a shift. Things have to be blended, because as I was saying, I think yesterday, well, I don't think judgment is not important. It is very important. How I imagine this cross, right? The cross, the plane, understanding reality, where this vertical movement up would be where everybody wants to. This is how we reaching the higher levels of consciousness through the acts of constant sacrifice, right? Of whatever doesn't align. Through the sacrifice, we are merging things. You see, that's what it really is. We are more merging points of view. We are merging perspectives. We are looking at things more holistically and more and more and more. And because we are from Western culture, it has to be extremely and powerfully literal. I don't know if anybody would tell you this firsthand, because like you will feel like a Jesus Christ on the cross. If you come from religious, like Christian religious background here, if you have this information coded within your DNA, right? That's how it's gonna feel, because that's how you've been conditioned for centuries. And it's not weird that you perhaps searching and exploring above it and beyond it, or perhaps you're just going very close, you know, very close, just to Hermeticism, just to Gnosis, right? This might be it too. Okay, numbers. So 333 is chasing me everywhere today. 333, extremely important. It's things are working in order to be well structured. This is like intellectualization of something which will be slowly coming to fruition. Some people 888, but I don't see 888 much. There's no, but it's something else. Not 888. It's like 10,000, 1,000, 100, but rather 10,000 or even 100,000. Those numbers you will see repeatedly, and this means this is a major acceleration of whatever this 333 is carrying, whatever this like higher merged. Well, because we're not talking only about philosophy here, which is like in separation. We're literally talking about your hands-on experience in real reality, from the moment you opening your eyes to the moment you closing your eyes. We're talking about actual literal experience too. There is no separation between spirit and your material life, and there should be none. That's where we want to arrive. That's what the goal is. And it will require a lot of sacrifices, and it will require leaving behind this sort of thinking which is so profoundly embodied in like tarot readings, right? Where we are giving example, working with this energy, working with that energy. This is all literalization of the process, which is very, very necessary to express something, but it still creates this, how to call it, almost like a bigger separation. It creates individuals who are not able, if they sucked in it, in these communities, right? If these new age communities, also in this occultistic communities, or also in this tarot reading, healing stuff, which I'm doing as well, if somebody is not ready and do not have enough consciousness to yet be able to correctly understand it, that it's just there to guide them on a process of releasing some sort of heavy psychic archetypal content which manifests differently in various people's lives. There might be separation from you and society, and it must be such a big separation that you will not be able to participate in it. And we don't want that. We want all to be a part of a community, and not a little community where there's a bunch of evil people you have to fight, and like one leader who is saying, oh, we're gonna do spiritual work together and we're gonna protect each other, and it's just like creating illusions of the spiritual attacks. And don't get me wrong, they are real on some level. Later there is no spiritual attacks. I'm myself going through various things, specifically after having contact with certain types of content. So it is also a sacrifice. It will be ultimately a sacrifice which will have to be made in the life of everybody to actually stop engaging in tarot completely. That will have to come. When? I don't know. It's so fun that I don't want it to happen. It's actually, no, until it becomes scary, but yeah, but the mini communities around one charismatic leader shouldn't be a thing anymore soon. All the world should finally come into a safe space together. There have to be something higher which will connect every human being, because we all coming back to our hearts, where we're supposed to be, not in solar plexus as many people are, not in a third eye as many people are as well, not in this intuitive intelligence, not in this ego, egoic, because we talk about cultures here, right? We're talking about Western culture, very much solar plexus oriented, right? And the third eye oriented, skipping the heart. We don't want our hearts to be blocked, and it's coming from a person who was walking with blocked eye for the most of my life. I don't think this. I think just I can't even say 100% if whether it's absolutely open or not. I think it's slightly cracked. I wouldn't say it's full heart chakra opening on at least this collective level. But that's the plan. That's what's gonna happen. It's coming home. Every soul is right now coming home. Our inner world and the outer world are blending and merging more and more. And there is a mutual understanding of them. We don't have to hold personas. Oh, I'm spiritual here, but then I'm just a business savvy, super task oriented person. You don't have to lie anymore. You don't have to feel like shit because you have to talk to people who you simply don't like. There are clear rules of what to do in those situations, how to participate in a state of world that we live in, with a consciousness that we have, and having personal integrity, right? Slowly, I hope one day will come to a place when both will be allowed at once, right? Okay, let's pull some cards. That's a long intro, damn it. Let's see. There's a lot more I want to say. There are hours upon hours of what I want to say, with more detailed examples. Okay, we have a Prince of Cups in reverse, and we have Queen of Discs upright, and this somebody's absolutely lost on their soul's journey. I think we talk about one person here. I'm saying we're talking about collective archetype. I'm being brought to say that, okay, so you going through awakening in this Western culture, and instead of you being accepted and knowledge being passed, you are arriving in a situation in which you have to become every archetype through hands-on experience. So you have to have like actual master degree diploma from being able to be this and that. Now, that's unrealistic. How about we just share knowledge, right? How about we just have it accessible for those who can reach this state of consciousness? Okay, I'm not gonna I'm just being like something. Queen of Discs, this is somebody very, very hands-on. You see, there's this problem that somebody has, this very problem I articulated, whether they should study and do all of this. And they are very sad, and their idealism is being crushed, because they realizing that their identity is no longer functional in this merged reality, not the inner world, not the outer world, in actually absolute reconciliation between two of them in a particular point in time, which is now. Whatever they imagine themselves to be is absolutely not possible. It's just like a grandiose here, right? It's a grandiose. I am the best poet, I am this and this and that. And this is what we're manifesting. This is probably what somebody's singing there every day. Singing, oh, I'm this and this and that, I'm rich, I'm happy, I'm healthy, I'm just like famous and stuff. I'm one with God, even that. And then they are seeing hands-on reality, they're getting up, they're going to work, and they're just like, well, I don't think anybody likes me. So the fame doesn't work as well, huh? It doesn't. Well, actually, everything around me is absolutely gray, and my soul is being tormented, and I even cannot say anything about my personal interest, because I have to call them my personal interest. This spirituality is not real thing. We can't just talk about it. It's just such a separation, because there's a humongous gap in knowledge, I'm hearing. Humongous the gap in embodiment of knowledge here in somebody's life. There's a lot of theory needed here. That's what I'm feeling. But this is making it so all of those wants, needs, desires, manifestations are not coming to any fruition, because they simply misaligned. Because somebody is Advaita Vedantic here and New Age manifesting here, instead of understanding that Shakti isn't subordinate to Shiva. They all equally powerful. Without Shakti, Shiva would be just dead. And without Shiva, Shakti would be blind and don't have senses at all too. Right? So we have to take all the reality into account. Not in a way that our ancestors taught us, not in a way that our powers taught us, work hard, sweat, do what you don't like to do the most. That's how you become spiritually advanced. If you do the worst for yourself, if you're hurting, if you're suffering, if you're sweating, if you're dying internally, if you're sacrificing, if you are this martyrdom, if you are this Jesus on a cross, or Mary on a cross, or whoever, that's when you are reaching these higher states of consciousness. That's when you something like that here. Queen of Discs. A steady, traditional, regular job. Be an accountant. Sit there, calculate numbers. Oh no, but the ChatGPT did it in 2 seconds. But still, that the system around it is so that, this company actually have to have a hired person with a title, with a job, with a university diploma, who would sign their signature under what ChatGPT calculated. So don't worry, you still have a job. Western system. And we have a jail. We have somebody in a spiritual jail, and it's a metaphor here. It says somebody state of cognition, the state of psychological state. It's also state of somebody's body, because this is how the body reacts to all of this, to stress. And this all creates confinement within, in between the worlds. Why is so much in between? There should be portals and trains. Like, we should already not be buying a bunch of clothes on flicking Shein and Temu and in the shops. We should have like people 3D printing them from whatever fabric you want and whatever color you want. The same shoes, like, why not 3D print shoes which are custom made and you just buy yourself once a year? The shoes which are perfectly tailored. Why there are no those tools? No, because the same as always, the world is not ready for them, because there are people who have to synthetically be in the system in order to create something bigger. The change is not easy, and that's what it shows. That's what it shows. You cannot just disrespect the external reality. You need to definitely take it into account and see how change is super slow, and accept this for yourself as well. The change will be slow. The process will be long. You're not taking mushrooms and becoming God suddenly. That's not how it works. And even you, it's landing you in a spiritual jail, and you have all of the mundane reality to integrate now through those new frameworks you discovered that exist through all these spirals and fractals, right? This is like very, I don't know who I'm talking to, but it's like, okay, when I'm talking to somebody who is starting to be full, I hope upright from full in reverse. It's a full in the middle. But somebody's offended right now, I'm feeling like, don't want me to talk, huh? Yeah, so here is a little truth, like every single thing, experience of every single person is equally important. Everything everybody says, things, no matter who they are, no matter what they're doing, is equally important. And if you want to be fully realized human being, you will have to experience it in your own body. Yeah, beggar, the poor person, living on the street, all of it. Being rich, which you also hate, right? Like being bloody rich. They also have to conceptualize, experience, embody it, and be okay with it. You will have to be okay with it. Of course, you will have to protect the vertical plane, the higher values. Of course, you will have to protect the eternal laws, the ultimate truth which exists only there. And we will have to truly embed it through this journey. Did people and cultures I'm glorifying here, saying it's so much easier to be in this process, to be a shaman, is passed on. Is it easier, really? Or do they disrespect certain part of themselves? Will they incarnate later on in a Western culture and go through a torment of Second World War firsthand in their visions? Will they paint as Beksiński did? Maybe, maybe not. Perhaps yes. Okay, so we have this fool who is suddenly starting to understand the multi-dimensionality of experience we are here having, and possible ways to go through it. Is there a book? Is there a guide? Is there a how to pass through this fourth dimension? How to pass through it the easiest way? Passwords, codes, light codes, everything, all of that. Do we need that really? Well, the cheating itself, cheat code, or simplified, is it wrong or right? Is it just being smart? Listen, we're working from heart chakra here. What is heart chakra compared to third eye chakra? We are returning to heart chakra. What matters in heart chakra? Does it matter how did you arrive in heart chakra? It's a frequency. So it doesn't. You have to vibrate on this frequency. Whatever life experience calls you to vibrate on it and be stable there and not being pulled anywhere else ever. Having your own home within yourself. It completely doesn't matter. Okay, so we have the Lovers in reverse and Disappointment in reverse. For a portion of people, here there's a big questioning on relationships. There are tensions in relationship. I'm feeling like a first house, second house axis, but really it's a fifth house, 11th house axis, which we're dealing in this eclipse season right now. It's a personal creation, personal pleasure versus experience we give to other in the social group. It's our personal experience, our ego, who we are, versus a space we live for others while being subservient to them, to be fair. you know, we gotta say it, Saturn. And just basically, let's say when it's this moon in Aquarius, here there is no personal identity. These are collective emotions, not in a way that Cancer does it. Cancer, which is not in vices, because like Aquarius is very explosive as well, and it's modernly ruled by Uranus, the most like tower shocking generating card. They can flip in a moment and become something very dangerous. They can become those who can crush large systems easily, and they can corrupt the systems easily. They can make one believe in something which is not worth believing it, which is making sense in a moment, making sense for a while, but it's not worth to follow. I'm hearing ontologically irrelevant in the long term, but people dedicate their life to the idea. They pursue the idea above all humanity, above all the people. This is the biggest trap here. That's why I'm saying we're returning back to the heart, to the center, where human is divine. That's what it is. Human. Just person, not alien, not reptilian, not a Pleiadian, who knows what. Not all of those inventions, not the things which you secretly wish to be, because aliens are on Earth working. This is all over literalization. I'm hearing it all over. These are people who... There are two perspectives to go through. These are people who are going from radically like horizontal perspective, blending it with this vertical perspective. And we have great minds here. We have great spiritual teachers here in this very category. This is what I'm saying is, see, some may say that's heresy. Some may say that it's just completely and utterly wrong, delusional. But is it really? So you have a Prince of Wands and a Magician in reverse. You have this Leo card here. The Leo acts as the leader. Leader who is seducing society with very catchy, very all-encompassing kind of, but yet elastic frameworks. Very elastic ideologies, which many things can be put in place of. The way this is illusion of how human cognition works. This is kind of social engineering. That's what those leaders are doing here. And we have somebody, and I think I'm reading for, who's searching, studious. Just don't never believe anything 100%. Don't go, is not getting blinded by something which shines. Somebody who's digging in the dirt, if necessary. Somebody who's muddying themselves, muddying their soul, muddying their light, but for a greater purpose, in order to find an actual truth. Not to follow something blindly for years to then just realize that they wasted their life. For somebody who is on a hero's journey, truly as a hero, somebody who's a seeker, who never commits fully to something, no matter what guru or person or personality will say to you, you gotta stay here, you are a, what do they call it, a cross watcher, or you are there's something in community people, and they little cults, or you are disloyal, or you are, I don't know, you are in few groups related to similar topic, and then you are a traitor. You are a traitor because you are interested in something different. That's the tone of the reading. This is all devil's energy in spirituality, in everywhere. Everywhere, pretty much. And it's not that you decide, no. Yeah, you do decide about your life, of course. You decide what's right, what's wrong, but do you really? Do you really, if you try to live on a vertical plane, if you want to live between Archangel Sandalphon and Metatron and all the virtues they embody? Because like many cultures, and especially Western culture, operates only on one plane. Because the other plane, the vertical plane, is actually decreasing, bringing us towards whatever is called in Hinduism, in Ayurveda, tamas. Because the Christian religion have been always praising the idea of self-sacrifice, of this martyrdom. It's our life within this philosophy. Not, I'm trivializing now, to be entirely fair, I'm trivializing. But if you go to the core and really try to see soul's awakening through this framework, well, what will be important to you? Mother Mary will be actually the most important here. And all Holy Spirit, not Jesus per se, you see? But many people follow Jesus, and this linear kind of the Christ grid, this and this and that. Is the energy, Shakti energy, which create. Okay, anyway, I'm not going to be explaining that in the depth, but I just want to say that they follow this journey of suffering, and an eternal life on earth is just like a prerequisite to something which waits for us later on, which is a salvation, which is like literally just being able to leave and just perish. No, that would be in the glory of God, right? Which is basically merging with everything, right? But why is it has to be this suffering? Why is it considered suffering? Because like if you know you are a process, if you're dropping meat from your diet because you just simply can't hold. You're just holding an item. If you're holding meat in your hand, and it just invokes a new time-space continuum of whatever happened with the very thing which this meat comes from. Of course, there is no harm rule. Of course, this is no harm rule, and it comes from a reason. You know, it's a reason behind it, because you will feel it in your own body. Because that's how the universe works. We are here vibrating in a time-space continuum, which is non-linear, and depends on how our perception works, how much aware are we. We can jump into any possible place, and we are hyper-focused if our perception is, like let's say tarot reader here, perception is hyper-focused on finding possible danger within various places, because that's what people are mostly interested about. They want to know what are the obstacles to achieve their goal, right? Find love, this and this and that. That's why I prefer collective reading. I'm not gonna be doing personal readings, because I don't I very much wish everybody to be happy, but the happiness means a lot of different things to different people. Let's just say that. So you directly jumping into the time space of this very meat being a happy animal. Let's say if it's good kind of, you know, if it, let's say this animal is raised in good conditions. Let's say they are on this field eating grass, looking around, chilling, right? You're jumping to the place of like how slaughter happened and what happened actually, and you just think, no, it's just not that. But then this Christian religion and this very philosophy here we have in the West, like it's so prominent, it's changes, you know, it's changes. I don't want to be controversial here, and many people can disagree with me, But I'm thinking this is bringing people on a spiritual level down, and it was designed so to do so. That's why we are so divided. That's why that's why this narrow, this is not narrow valley, this is very deep narrow valley, because it's those two things are so close together. Actually, it's so easily to reframe it. It's so easily to make your experience later on follow. But yet the valley is so deep, and many people are falling into this trap and falling down. That's why it's so dangerous. And we're talking about here false leaders, false lights. When we are talking about false light a lot here, actually. And what does it mean? We talk about this fourth dimension, right? What everybody now goes through. Hopefully it will end. It has to end. It has to end one day. And the fastest it will end, the better for us. Because like it's kind of tragic to live in this transitional moment, right? Their major transformation is being required, and as I was saying, Mother Mary is a very important archetype right now, because she represents truly a heart chakra. She represents truly those idealistic values. For Shakti, it just looks like Mary Magdalene much more similar. There are similarities, but it's not exactly the same. Okay, what do I need to know more? Because I don't want this to be over an hour. Okay, so we have Tower, which is also coming the same as this Fool. This is about gaining back some sort of huge awareness, and yet it's all on hold. Yet it's on a hold, and it's either this or that. Either you will be thrown into fires and shocked and electrified and who knows what else, and you will have to give up so much things, which are, believe me, they are so easy to give up. They truly are, but it seems like a personal tragedy. Or you're gonna be living in the dark, living in the clouds, living in a, not clouds, in a smoke, in the dust. In nothing pleasurable. Nothing pleasurable is in here. Dwelling is not pleasurable. You'll be chasing the pleasures, material pleasure. You'll be coming back, filling your cart with items. You'll be coming back and, don't know, trying to binge watch those series, trying to and they will give you meaning, and you will start to see the same archetypes, the same things, the same situation. This is the spirit talking to you. What more you have to do? It's all in front of you at every time. Whenever you look around yourself and assess the situation, you see exact guidance. It's not difficult, but you just have to make the step. Make the step to actually don't disrespect inner world and outer world. They both go hand at hand together. And you should work towards merging them. You should work towards making sacrifices of both ends. Making sacrifices of your identity and who you thought yourself to be. Whether it is positive or not positive. It doesn't matter in this case. If this is grandiose, or is it something like very insecure, or something like self-deprecating, or even worse, self-hatred. You have to give that up too. Because it's not about it. Because it's not about that at all. And on the opposing side of the spectrum, trying to make reality yours, that never will be a thing. That never should be a thing. Every time you see the instance of this kind of happening, it ends up tragically very fast. Look at the Nazi movement, where they try to make reality they and have their ideology. Look at anything. There is any structure which suddenly, radically, somebody trying to make something this way. No, because the self-regulating system, the reality. There are laws which are in place, which are making sure that never anything like that will happen. And if it will be decided that like, I don't know what it's called, like majority of people, or most of people on earth decides that they want to go through this pain again and again and again, it's gonna be happening and again and again and again. Is it possible for some planets to just like be crushed by asteroid and disappear, fall into two pieces? Our I don't know, Mars just being suddenly crushed in two pieces, floating away. Probably something will happen to Earth in this case, but let's say outer planet or something, which will completely have to change the way we think about astrology. Can it happen? Can. Will it happen? Probably not, because it's so coded in people's minds that we can comfortably use it as a framework of prediction. And they come to life, and they are. See, we made this reality deterministic. So we may as well take advantage of that and elevate ourselves to transcend this silly astrological chart. Okay, we have pleasure. So all of us will hopefully comfortably return mentally to the happiest moment in our childhood. For some, maybe the childhood itself, the concept of it, the innocent pleasure, the happy pleasure, the pleasure without feeling guilt, shame, or anything else. It's just like complete freedom to feel pleasure. It's gonna happen for many, and it's really well deserved. What else happening? See, there will be breakups. There will be breakups in large systems. There will be a sequence of isms, schisms. They will separate, they will form the groups, and then they will again try to connect and then disconnect, and all of this. Until they will just somehow, just please somehow, find the cheat code to get out of this 4D matrix, alright? Find the cheat code. Not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. Why is not going to happen? Because it has to be lawful, and it has to be structured in a way that is of the heart chakra. We can never leave even a little soul behind. You're saying, okay, even if this soul is evil, yeah, even if it's evil, oh, even because they will perish anyway. Something will happen. So, but we can't. We morally can't. We are ethical here. Doesn't matter. Trolley problem not applicable even. We just gonna blow up the train before it even happens. It has to happen this way. There's no way around it. There's no acceleration. There's only future planning. And for those who I'm talking to, who are eager to be there authentically, fully, without the disrespect of this material reality, it is form of collective imagination. It's a form of collective manifestation. Not yours, not your personal egos. Everybody's oneness. We are in a phase of planning, having ideas, brilliant ideas, in order to make this process simpler, make this transition smoother, creating infrastructure, whether it is philosophical infrastructure, whether it is literal infrastructure, whether it is medical tools and systems, in order to facilitate the new people who arrive to new level of consciousness. It will be more and more. And some of us are feeling just jaded, because it's just not happening. It's not happening. There's a bunch of high priestesses which are also muddying themselves every day. The high priestesses are muddying themselves in order to solve people's primitive personal problems so they can raise beyond them. That's what we are doing here every day.